guys? Give me that view. What's up, Ben?
Hey,
the
how's
man.
it going? Yep, that's right.
The myth.
Not a legend.
The legend. So you were here last year, 2018. This is over in South Dakota, Custer, South Dakota, for ITC. This year, 2019 ITC with Collie Center. You've been with the guys for quite how many years have you been with us now?
3.5, 4-ish.
3.5 years,
3.5,
4-ish. You go to like the workshops that we have in Chicago. He's always stopping by. You know, we consider you like literally a team member. So we knew you were going to come back this year. What did you experience, you know, last year versus this year, and where you're at with understanding Collie?
Like last year, I was just understanding the kind of the fundamental philosophy of the basics, and I kind of came back this year with a better idea of you know, how to use the attacking triangle and doing the bridging, and you know, knowing where the weapon needs to go through the center line, and just kind of understanding that portion of attack and evasion better. So from that standpoint, just felt like I was moving around better. I was more coordinated, more athletic in general. So it kind of allowed me to maybe get a little more out of it this year than I did last year. Not to say that I didn't get anything out of last year, but it's like the fundamental ideas have sunk in more.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm getting to the point where I feel like I can start moving on into some of the more intermediate level material.
Sure. And then like training with Paul, because you know, we were talking about this some time ago, and you're like, you know, flowing with Paul before versus flowing with Paul. I mean, did you feel like that there was a difference prior to what, you know, what was going on at ITC here over in Custer?
Yeah. So last year he freaks the hell out of me. Right? So,
yeah.
So now that I've flowed with him a few times, and I kind of feel like I know what I'm doing.
What do you mean by freaks out?
Yeah.
Freaks you out?
Every time he comes forward, I felt like I would panic.
Uh-huh.
Last year, definitely. This year, I don't feel that way anymore.
Uh-huh.
You know, I feel like I can, you know, hold my own as best I can.
Well, what changed? Like, what made you feel like you can do that?
I think in the endurance of the footwork is a lot better. So it's just, you know, it's different than you know, like going out and running, because you know, it's a different sort of muscular strain on the body. So I've gotten more familiar with that just from training the footwork. So I feel like I'm navigating a lot better,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm seeing the lines better with the strikes. So you know, even if I get tagged, I kind of already see it coming. It's like I know what just happened. I'm kind of figuring out where I made my mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Where last year I was a little more like, dang it, what happened there? You know, and he'd have to kind of explain it to me a little bit more. Now I'm kind of self-explaining it, you know, in my mind, and then I just kind of move on from there and say, okay, I can't do that again, or you know, try not to do that again, and then just try another line. So I wouldn't try anything with him last year. This year I kind of threw in some weird stuff just to kind of see what would happen, you know? And I kind of felt like I could, you know, at times push him back a little bit, where I really didn't have that ability to do that last year against Paul at all. So.
Nice. That's awesome. So you've been doing this for a little, you know, some time now. What makes you want to stay with Collie?
I think the one thing is I like the concept of using my hands kind of independently. So I really want to work toward doing like a spotty daga, and not just like, you know, single polo or, you know, single knife. So I'm going to work to that more, you know, multi-dimensional sort of fighting. And basically the multi opponents, because it's a whole vast system that is interesting, and you know, I don't really have a lot of experience in. So eventually get to that level and just have a good concept of, you know, what's, you know, how does the battlefield work, right? Like, what's the best way to navigate, you know, when you've got to deal with lots of different things at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So training outdoors this year versus last year, we kind of changed up the location a little bit more. Did you, what did you experience with that new location and where we trained this time?
I like the hikes. It's yeah, not that big of a deal for me, I guess. If you're not used to it, kind of wears you out before you even get started.
Right,
so
right.
it teaches you that you've got to kind of like mentally push through, that pain barrier if you have it, and teaches you not to stop and just to keep going. Get your water in when you need to get it in. Make sure you're obviously not injuring yourself by dehydration, but the mental strain of trying to do something, and have to deal with the environment at the same time is, that it can be, a lot more challenging for some people than others, and I think it's a fundamental idea that really needs to sort of take place. If I just work out in my home all the time, I'm not really understanding what's going to happen. If I get out in the environment,
Right.
a thunderstorm, pops up, or
Right.
I'm dying
A
of
rock.
thirst. Yeah, exactly. So
The heat.
you just if you don't get out in some abnormal environments, you're just one, you're challenging your coordination. So you can't do that if you're always on the street or on some surface that you're familiar with all the time. So.
Okay. And then this time around we had more people. So training
Yep.
with the team and training with new guys. What was your feeling about that?
Yeah, that was fun because I just kept bouncing from person to person, and everybody's a little bit different skill sets, and
What would you feel about you having the skill sets now versus before with the newer guys?
Well, a lot of times I felt like I was aiding them along, and I'm teaching them more
Nice.
of some of the basics, which I wasn't trying to do earlier, but to kind of get them in line, and then if there's any advanced questions or something, I can always direct them to Paul. But getting them into the drill, I'm not a lot more comfortable with that now because I've done it enough that I kind of know what I'm saying and talking about in certain aspects of what we're doing. So just getting more comfortable, jumping from person to person, and
Right.
figuring out what I need to do to help them.
Right. Did you feel like you forged a lot of pretty good relationships here?
Yeah,
Especially at this camp?
yeah, it's good. Everybody's, everybody comes together really well.
No
It's,
butt heads?
no. I mean, yeah, you can smack a guy. You can smack a guy. And he won't care. But yeah, if you smack him 10 times, then maybe I don't know. But did try
Awesome.
that.
That's awesome. Next time.
Yeah,
Next
next time is 10.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
2019 ITC, definitely next year.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, we're going to see you for a long time, aren't we?
Most likely.
What was your goal again? Wait, you had 2 goals?
I had 2 goals. Oh, one is to flow with Paul until I wear his ass out, and then 2 is become proficient with a spotty dog.
Awesome.
That's it.
Brother Ben.
Yep.
A pleasure.
Yep.
See you soon.
Thanks.